Hello, my friends. Welcome into this week's episode of Forte Catholic. I'm so glad that you are here. Thanks for choosing to spend about an hour with us today. Liv Harrison is here in the studio. We have a great episode for you. We talk a little bit about main character energy. It's a big video game term, but it's become a little bit more popular in the common parlance. And we want to talk about how to have or how to deal with main character energy when it comes to living out our faith in our relationship with God and our relationship with those around us. We also talk about ferocious faith. We get very alliterative with some of our faith terms, and I share what I think might be my favorite joke that I've made in months today. We hope that you enjoy today's episode. If you do, please hit that subscribe button wherever you are listening, or especially if you're watching over on YouTube. It helps us out and make sure that you won't miss an episode ever, so you're stuck with us forever. Mwahahaha. Enjoy today's episode. Hello there, and welcome to Forte Catholic. I am Taylor Schroll, and that is Olivia Newton-John. Liv Harrison, you're here.
Woo! You said my real name.
I did.
Whoa!
I have to because people might have forgotten who you are.
Or that Olivia Newton-John is dead. So why do you always have to bring her back? Just let her lie in peace.
No. We have to.
I'm glad you know my name.
They always say you have to honor the dead, but I don't honor her by comparing her to you every time you're on the show.
She's so way superior.
She is.
Even in death. But yes, that is my real name. Thank you for
She
reminding.
dances better than you.
She does everything better than me. Exactly. No matter where she is.
I have to tell you this.
Okay.
People are mad at you.
What? No.
Listeners of this show are mad.
Why?
And I don't think they're actually mad at you.
Are you trying to make me cry?
No, I don't think they're mad at you. I think they're mad at the situation.
What's going on?
I think people are jealous of you.
Of me?
Yes. Shocker of shockers.
What in the world would there be to be jealous about?
So, context for people who aren't, tuned into this show every week.
This is why you don't do show prep with me, so you can get my real reaction.
100%.
Because I'm freaking out right now.
So you and I, long story short, because I don't, I want to keep people in the loop, but I also don't want to bore people who have been listening every week for a year. You took a sabbatical for life things.
Correct.
And our deal was, as long as you come back within a year, I'll keep you on as a co-host of the show, meaning that you'll come on roughly once a month. You'll still be a part of the show. Your face will still be on the logo, like all that stuff, right? And you came back. People were keeping track. I didn't realize people would keep track. You came in at 11 and a half months. Your last appearance on the show was about a month ago.
Yeah, I hear you.
You came in at 11 and a half months, and people came out of the woodwork like saying they were waiting for the next 2 weeks because they thought that it was going to be their face on the logo. I think people are jealous of you. They were coming for your spot. And you kept it. I have had multiple people. Yes, at least two. That's multiple, right? No, but there's been about 4, 5, 6 people who have made some kind of comment that you're back. For instance, I went on Game of Favorites. You've been on the show. The whole Forte crew played.
I loved it.
All of us, all 5 of us, me and the other 4 co-hosts.
It was great.
Played on that game a year ago.
Yeah.
And Peter, the host of the show,
he's so great.
He had not invited me back.
Yeah.
I haven't been on the show by myself in like 2.5 years. And I kind of forgot about the Forte episode that we did because to me, it kind of felt like our show.
Sure.
Because it was the 5 of us and Peter, yes, it was his show. But, it was, so I kind of forgot about it. And I was messing with him. I was like, Peter, I thought you hated me. And because you used to invite me on once every few months. You hadn't invited me on. And then he said something to the effect of, well, you've been on this show more than Liv Harrison's been on your show.
Hi, Peter. And you know what? He's invited me back on his show more than once. And I had to say, I'm sorry, I can't do that right now. I have to mentally go through what I'm going through. And he's been so kind.
He is a very nice person.
He's a great person. You know what? You should put him on this show. Peter, do you want my job? You can have it.
He came on the show for a little tryout, and I'm glad you're back.
I love you, Peter. Peter, call me. I'll go back on your show. I'm ready. I'm healthy.
There were, while you were gone, we had a few little, whether people...
All right, well, let's get to it. What do people want to know?
Whether people realized it or not, they were having a little tryout, and they did very well.
Oh, good.
So if you would have waited 2 more weeks, it might have been somebody else's face on the logo, but you're still standing.
Well, listen, and I've told you this. I have. Anytime you want to replace me, I'm okay. It's your show. I believe that. Like it is your show. Do I love it? Do I love you to pieces? For some ungodly known reason, yes, I do.
Oh gosh, I was so stressed about that answer. I was like, oh no, what's she gonna say?
I love you to pieces. I don't know why. It's a trauma bond, probably.
Yeah, for real.
But no, listen, in all fairness, and I won't get into names, I actually even said to you, you know what, you should probably look into somebody else. Here's somebody that maybe you should, or I don't know. And you're like, no, I'm good. So he is a creature of comfort, and he does know who he can abuse. And so
I do.
I think there's a reason Catherine, Allison, and I are here, and Father Anthony, just prays for your soul.
It takes a lot to be a co-host of the show. It really does.
You do have to hold your own.
I have to think that you're entertaining, that people will listen. I have to know that I can't just say anything I want, but I do have to have this built-up trust where, like, every now and then I will cross a line.
Yeah.
That maybe I know it's there, maybe I don't know it's there, and I just have to have enough built-up trust where, like, oh, maybe you shouldn't have said that. I was like, okay, I'm sorry. Move on. Like there's the trust factor there. And then there is just this, like, I tried doing the show for years by myself.
Yeah.
And it wasn't very good. I just know that I'm better off of other people, but if those other people are helpful. And I've had guests and other co-hosts that maybe that wasn't the case.
And we have a great chemistry. We always have. Like when I had my own show, you were my first choice to be my sidekick. I think the other thing,
I was the best Higgins of all time.
God, you were so good. You were. We were so good. It makes me so sad. It's like a couple that broke up. That
it's not that late to bring the show back.
I would love to. You in a wig any day. But we did all that on improv. Listen, people don't understand what we did because a lot of people practice and do all this kind of stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we have a natural chemistry. Your mother called it a long time ago. But here's the other thing you need to say. Being a co-host is not the same as being a host. This is your show. And not everybody understands what that means to not outshine. Many times you have had to say, hey, Liv, stop talking.
Well, that has nothing to do with being co-host. I want you to know that I've never said that to any of the other co-hosts. I need you to know that. What
I was trying to say, I've learned and grown. I have been molded.
What you need to hear
I've been molded.
That's a you problem.
Yeah, that's true. I have so many you problems. It's unbelievable. Is that what people are keeping track of? They should keep track of my you problems. But listen, if they want to come for my job, go.
No, it's just funny. I think people like you, but it was just really funny that nobody said anything for 11 and a half months. Everybody was so respectful of your time off because everybody knows that. Like, it's just it was become a thing now.
It's a very serious
Sometimes
thing.
people need a break. Sometimes people need a sabbatical. Like,
yeah, but this was serious.
It's more common that people do that, take breaks or whatever. So people were very forgiving until you came back, and then they were like, "Dang it! The show was almost mine." So I just wanted you to say that I'm glad you're back.
Oh, that's all that matters.
Yeah,
nobody understands this duo, especially us. But no, I'm glad I'm back too.
Yeah, nobody understands it. I thought you were going to say better than us, and I was like, no, you had it right the first time. Nobody understands.
Including
for sure.
No, I'm glad to be back. I do. I love it. And let me say this: coming today was easier than it was last month. So I think that's a positive thing. I actually talked about it on my Instagram stories because I wasn't sure, even after last month.
You didn't tag me?
I didn't.
This is the first time hearing of it.
I was driving down Highway 6 going like this. I was weaving in and out for those watching. I just realized I was back on
surprised
podcasting.
You made. I think people know what weaving means.
Well,
like, even if they couldn't see you doing this with your hand, they're like, we know what weaving means. We've seen people text and drive. We've seen it.
Oh no, I'm the worst. And
I wasn't texting, officer. I was Instagram storying. That's not illegal. Show me where it says I can't Instagram story in the law. Show me.
Here's what's really funny. As I was giving a hot take about Instagramming, I was Instagram storying and driving.
That's how Instagram works.
I'm the worst.
It's people on their phones making stories about how people shouldn't be on their phones in traffic, and there you are.
Well, I mean, or doing the things I think you shouldn't do on Instagram. I love that we all have an opinion, and we're like, you should listen to it, and I'm going to make it public. That's what I did today.
I saw this meme the other day that just brought it. It made me feel like a little bit of self-actualization kind of swept over me. It was, sometimes I'm driving on the road, and somebody comes up behind me, and they are going so fast, and I'm like, this guy. It's so reckless. How could he do this? And then I'm behind a slow person. I'm like, they are so slow. What are they doing?
Yeah.
So it's like, no matter what, I always think I'm right.
You're the
Like,
hero.
if I'm going 82 miles an hour, it's perfect. Anybody going 83, what a jerk. Anybody going 70, they're an old geezer, probably putting Instagram stories on their phone. Like, but here I am going 12 over the
100%,
limit.
yeah.
You know, like, I'm not right. But no matter what, in my head, I am right.
You are the hero on the road, with or without blinkers or whatever you're doing or cutting off or
this actually is a good segue into something that I want to talk about. So
great.
Have you ever heard the term like main character energy?
Yes.
Okay. What do you think it means? I just want to see. Like,
what do I think it means? Even though I've heard it.
When you hear main character energy, what do you think?
Honestly,
main character syndrome, main character energy. That's what.
Yeah. To be honest, it just seems like a more like modern way of saying self-centered. That's my take when you really boil down what it means. But I know that that's not what the intention is. It's kind of like in the same realm for me personally, self-care. Listen, self-care is brilliant. Everybody needs self-care, but we've also taken it to a different level where it's like, so for my self-care, I have to like, and it's like, it becomes selfish or self-centered. It takes on a different.
I'm doing self-care. Meanwhile, my children haven't eaten in 4 days.
Right.
Because I'm taking care of me.
Correct. It kind of gets a little me internal centered. But I don't think that was the original intention. I don't know if I answered your question.
No, that's really good. And I wouldn't have thought to bring it to self-care, but it actually is a perfect kind of comparison, right? Because there is a healthy version of self-care, and then obviously you could take it too far. I think main character energy, it can be used as a positive. Like, one of the big things, we're recording this a little early from when this is releasing, but like this past weekend as we record, like what's the Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce thing? Like, they're the main characters in the story, right?
Right.
Like they're just the main character. Like Taylor might always be, but especially because they're like linking together. Like,
are they dating? Are they not?
And
is it serious?
So, and it's this bringing together of two worlds. Because like, how many Swifties are also NFL fans? Like, it's like, yes, there's a Venn diagram with a few people, but you know how Venn diagrams are. It's like a little sliver, and then there's two big circles, right? So they're becoming even more main characters than both of them. Like he's one of, if not the greatest tight end ever. She's one of, if not the greatest, performer ever. So it's like those two get together. That's very main character energy, and that it's a fun thing. It's a positive thing, right?
It's like Beyonce and Jay-Z. I mean, it's it's Kanye and Kim K. Like it's these worlds. Yeah.
Worlds colliding, and only one of them has stuck together. So we'll see how this goes. This is
way to go, Blue Ivy. She kept them together. Go ahead.
But like you said, self-centered.
Yeah.
Which also gets a negative connotation.
It does.
But they're also like, where else am I supposed to be centered? like
Jesus.
Yes.
Christ centered.
So people could say Christ centered, Jesus centered. I think a lot of people would say like that's like the Christian answer, but like the opposite of self-centered is like others centered or others focused, right? But like I'm getting to a story. I had this like cool thing happen. But also very weird. So it's like, it's a very me story, right? So yes, I'm going to make this story about me. So because
that's new and different.
Because that's kind of my point though.
Okay.
Like if I am thinking about, if I am being Jesus focused, if I'm trying to get out of myself, if I'm going to mass or I'm in prayer or just thinking, if I'm trying to focus on Jesus, I'm still at the center of that because it's me focusing on Jesus, right?
Okay, yeah.
I'm trying to shift my focus, and like, like pride is like looking inward and I'm so great. And then like the humility is like looking out to Jesus.
Right.
But even I'm still a big part of that.
You're part
I'm still a big part of the equation here, right? Like I cannot encounter Jesus without me. It's this complicated thing where it's like people say so, but even when I think about others, it's still me making a choice to focus on others.
I don't know.
Think about
okay,
others.
Go ahead. I want to see where you're going. Do you have a story? I think that'll help.
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
But because yes, can these things go too far? Yes, I can be too prideful. Yes, I can be too focused on me. Yes, I can, even the self-care thing. It's like, yes, there are times where I can focus more on what I need and what I want more than what other people want, and that can be detrimental, right? But I'm literally always the main character in my story because like
it's your life.
It comes you want to be. It's your life. Oh, they're going back on tour. I'm so excited. Okay. That's our first you and me moment of this whole podcast.
That's hilarious.
But like, so in video games, you're the main character.
Sure.
And you interact with all the NPCs, the non-playable characters, right?
Oh,
Like
I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah. So like we're all like in one sense, like
NPC?
we're all NPCs in Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's
For
life.
sure.
Like,
they literally don't know we
right,
exist.
100%.
Yeah. They don't care what game we were at or if, they don't care.
So like in the video game, it would be like if I'm playing, Starfield, the big game out right now.
Mhm.
It's like we're the shopkeep that the main character comes to one time, buys some stuff, and then maybe shoots us. Like that's who we are.
That made me think of Link. And what was that? What was that game called?
Zelda?
Yes. Thank you.
How did you know Link and not Zelda? Everybody calls Link Zelda. I don't understand. You avoided the most common mistake and yet still looked dumber than most people.
That's the most sweet thing ever.
That is so funny.
I used to play Zelda, but I remember you had to go to a shop person. You had to buy stuff.
Yeah.
In Zelda.
So
anyway, sorry. You brought me back. Go ahead. 1983's over. Go ahead.
I wasn't there. And neither were
Neither
Taylor
was
Swift
Zelda.
or Travis Kelce
I don't
because
know
they
when
were all
Zelda
born
started.
in 1989.
That's disgusting.
I'm born in the same month as the two of them.
Month or
Yes.
year?
Yes.
Same
month.
year?
Yeah.
You were born in 89?
Yeah. So
Same.
I'm Taylor from 89.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
You look really good in red lipstick. All right, go ahead.
So I was
Yeah.
thinking about this. Like I am. It was a weird way to get like out of myself. I am the main character in my story,
Mm-hmm.
but you are the main character in yours.
Yeah.
I was sitting in mass. Every single person there is the main character in their story. And like, yes, there are more important people in the story. God, like literally I'm sitting
Sure.
in mass, like Jesus is about to become Jesus out of bread and wine. Like he's the main character, the most important story. But I am the person that I'm controlling. That's literally main character.
Right.
Like I'm not controlling the NPCs. I'm controlling me, right?
Right.
And I can control how I interact with these people.
Your reactions.
And so I started doing this very interesting thing because it is hard for me to not think from my perspective because it's the only one I have. Like, oh yeah, I can attempt to be like, oh, what's Liv thinking? I'm probably wrong because you barely know what you're thinking. Like we're all playing a guessing game there. But
You're the worst.
I was sitting in mass and we're kneeling, like essentially during the whole Eucharistic thing. The whole
Eucharistic thing.
Eucharistic thing. You know what I mean?
You know that part.
The Eucharistic prayers, the second half of mass, where we're kneeling and sitting. But like, I had my focus on trying to figure out. Essentially, what I started doing is making up what was going on in the lives of other people. Like it was a kind of under the, and I was thinking about this main character energy thing because, like, I have a lot of main character energy. I think people would say that about me, right?
Sure.
But I started thinking, like, I know that person. There are certain people that I knew, and it's like there's a lot of things going on in my life that they don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I do put a lot of things publicly, there's still some stuff that I don't talk about publicly.
A
right?
lot that you yeah.
So like I know certain things about certain people that are going on. So I'm like trying to put myself in their shoes. Literally, like they are 3 pews away on the other side of the church. What's going on in their life? And I started like some of the stuff that I knew was real. It's like I know that business has been difficult for him. I know that things have been going on with their family. Like, and I'm kind of going around the church, putting myself in these people's shoes, and being like, if they're the main character, which they are in their own lives,
right? In their
what's going on? How are they entering into this prayer? How are they entering into Jesus? Into this prayer time, this preparing time to receive Jesus? And it was really helpful for me, I think, because if I'm going to skew anyway, it is going to be on the more like self-centered or like focusing on me. So it was a weird way to get to like essentially it's putting yourself in other people's shoes. It's like, okay, you can try that. But I was like, literally like, if I'm playing a video game as that person, what's going on in their life? Where are they coming from? What are they bringing to this Eucharistic communion, this Eucharistic table? What are they bringing into mass? What are their So it was a cool kind of like out of body experience that like, as somebody who's pretty self-focused, people might be listening to this like that's literally you're the craziest person I've ever met in my life that you had to use a video game reference. And
actually, I think it's brilliant.
And that you did this during. You're thinking about video games and NPCs during Eucharistic prayer. Yes, it's how my brain works. I don't know. I'm not going to apologize.
I love that. You shouldn't. I think that's actually really brilliant and very applicable to today, whether you play video games or not. They've been around a long time now. Thank you, Atari.
Ever since Link and Zelda.
Ever since that guy. You had to go in a store and buy this stuff.
I still cannot believe you knew Link and not Zelda. Literally for 4 decades, people have been calling him Zelda. Zelda's the girl, but people for the Zelda games,
you're right.
he's the main character.
I know.
It's literally like proving the point.
Yeah.
He's the main character. The game's called Zelda, so everybody assumes he's Zelda.
Right, exactly. No, it's Link. But I wasn't a big fan of Zelda. I was actually Metroid, and my favorite was Contra. But anyway, go ahead. So I don't think you're wrong. I think
you just said go ahead, then kept talking.
I was about to support you to get you back on track because I know I took us off.
No, you're fine.
I think it's actually really brilliant what you use because, first of all, that is part of your whole story is video games. I mean, that is you. If anybody's listened for more than 5 seconds, they know that that's something that's really important to you. So why wouldn't you take something? In fact, what I love that you did was you took something from the secular world and something from the religious world, spiritual world, and you put them together. That's what we're supposed to do.
It's almost like I have a podcast about it or something.
It's almost like you have a podcast about it or you speak about it or something.
Right, yeah.
Wow, this is deep, Taylor.
Wow, we did it. We did it.
You're in the right business.
So maybe you're listening and you're not as self-centered as I am, but if you are, and I know there's a few of you out
Play
there,
a game.
like the ones who thought that your face was going to be, replacing Liv's, if that's you, just try this out the next time you're in mass. And it's a weird thing to suggest because I think most people are a little bit more pious in mass. I would imagine, I would say on this particular scale, I'm right in the middle. I would imagine 50% of our listeners are way more pious in mass,
okay,
and 50% just aren't paying attention at all. And I think I'm right there in the middle. I'm paying attention, but doing it in a very strange way. I'm like, what if that guy's an NPC? No, that's not how mass usually goes, but it's how it works for me.
It's okay as long as you come back.
Right.
As long as you come back and you're working on it. I think that's what makes you so lovable, though. As a non-NPC, so it's either NPC or main character.
No,
MC?
don't get confused.
I
want you to explain why I'm lovable because I'm not quite sure.
Because you put out there your humanity in the real moments, especially when other people are too afraid or scared to say, "Yeah, I've gone to mass 1 billion times in my life, and sometimes I don't nail it." And sometimes I look at it like a video game, or
right.
Sometimes, you know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, you are not even though I agree with you with the self-centered part at times, but you own it and you see it and you talk about it and you bring it up and you acknowledge it and you work on it. But then the other thing is that you give real life examples. And I think people are way too afraid to do that. And I really admire that. I think that's what makes you so lovable and why people keep coming back because they're like, yeah, I've thought about weird things in mass, or yeah, I thought about weird things.
I thought they were just coming back to see if you'd ever return. I thought that's why they were coming back.
Listen, there's a lot better faces you could put on the thing. I think you should definitely take my face off. I'm pro that. I'm not against that at all. Put Allison and Catherine on there twice.
No, we worked so hard.
To get me to look unattractive.
I think I told this story. We've had that logo. There's been one change to it when Catherine replaced John. But we've had that logo now for almost 3 years now.
True.
And we worked so hard for the females on the group to make sure that you liked how you look. We went through so many drafts. And I'm not taking you off. We worked too hard for people to be happy. I'm not doing it again.
You won't replace it with somebody more attractive because
so
I would vote yes in a heartbeat. And that would not be hard to find.
I'm the center of it.
That is true. You look good.
It's not that hard to find somebody less attractive.
Oh, stop. You look good in that logo. I don't blame you for not putting that on everything. I would do the same.
I wish I could put it on my real body. I wish I still looked like that. All right,
we're back to video games.
Yeah, exactly. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. It's that time of year again. The air is getting a little crisper. Leaves are changing color, and the aromas of pumpkin and cinnamon treats are in the air. Whether that sounds good for you or great as you begin your, you're going to be having these for your Halloween parties, your Thanksgiving parties, and yes, even your Christmas parties. Christmas is going to be here faster than you know it. This is the perfect season to try a loaf of the world famous Monk's bread. Their raisin cinnamon, maple cinnamon, seasonal pumpkin spice bread joined their already impressive lineup of 8 delicious varieties, and it ships right to your door. These monks make it in their monastery in Western New York. They also have famous biscotti, fruitcake, jams, and even more. And every time that you buy this, it's supporting the monks in all of the ministry that they do. So if you want to buy this for yourself to try it out, and then, as you're starting to plan your gift-giving season, monksbread.com. monksbread.com. Forte23 is the discount code that you will use if you want 10% off. That's Forte23 at monksbread.com. Enjoy. Welcome back to Forte Catholic. I am Taylor Stroll, and that is an NPC. So the funny thing about our whole last segment, you drive me crazy.
I know.
I walked away in between segments to go get some water, and I had a moment of self-actualization of like, I just talked about being the main character for the whole segment, and we didn't talk about you at all.
I love how that drives you crazy.
It drives me crazy because I was already kind of like one of those things where it's like maybe feeling bad about it, or at least discerning whether I should feel bad about it, right? Like going back and forth of like, oh, I'm like that all the time in conversation. Did I overtake the conversation? I'm literally thinking about that all the time. I usually don't have to worry about it with you because you're me, but girl. But then so I'm literally waffling on, should we talk about this? Or should I feel bad? And then I come back. I'm so mad at you. I come back and you're like, oh, I have a great connection because I think about main character energy differently. And I'm like, well, why the hell did you say it? And then you said, because it was your story. And I'm like, this is our show. We're doing the show together.
I'm the co-host. Stay in your lane.
No, what did you just say to me?
I just said I actually had the opposite problem of you.
And that would have been a perfect thing to bring up in the middle of the show. What are you doing?
For the second segment.
Dang, you're the worst.
No, I'm not.
I'm replacing your face. It's over.
Yes. Thank God.
You know what I'm going to do?
That.
No. Every time you make me mad, I'm going to leave you on there, but make you look worse.
See, that is main character energy mean.
100%.
That is MCM.
So, okay.
You're a mean girl.
I am.
You are.
There's a question that I want to ask about you. Okay. That's about you. But first, we have to address it. So you don't connect at all. So you're
the opposite.
You're an
problem.
outgoing. I'm surprised by that because you're an outgoing person. You're often like you're a person that has a microphone. You've had multiple shows. You've been a speaker and an MC. Like, so I just kind of assume that people that are standing in front of people are comfortable with like, yeah, I'm the main character right now.
Yeah, no.
So
no,
weird.
I have a really hard time applying everything that I teach, everything that I say, everything that I do, that includes me. It doesn't come from a place of like, I'm not in the equation actually when I'm talking about souls and like all this kind of stuff.
I don't have one of those.
No, I'm serious. I have the very opposite problem of, wait a second, I do count. But you know this personally as my friend, but I have the opposite problem of you. All I
literally
see
just said that
I feel like you know this because you know how insecure I am in my worth and all that kind of stuff. You know all this stuff and you know what I struggled with and you know what I'm going through. And I'm saying I really see everybody else and their story. It's very clear to me, but mine, I don't include I don't know where I am. I'm like I feel like I'm one of those people that had like a near-death experience and they're floating above. Have you ever heard those stories? Like they're on the operating table and they have a heart attack and they die. And then they float above the table and they can wake up after, an hour of being dead and they tell everybody what they were saying in the operating room. And they're
I
like,
didn't go to heaven or hell. I floated 6 feet above my body and watched you guys talk about me.
Exactly. I feel like that is kind of, what energy is that? Floating energy? That's what I have. I am outside of my own story. This is getting deep.
It's interesting because I did not assume. I assumed that you were more like me in this, both in the positive and the negative side, right? Because over the course of many years since I've known you, whenever bad things happen, like you take care of yourself and like you go to therapy and you get help, and it's like, well, you're the main character in therapy. Like you're there to help you, right? So like. Even if you're being like not self-centered, yes, I think it's something that you struggle with, but I also think that you do a good job of taking care of yourself as the main character. So I think even in the negative side, like when things aren't going well, I still think you're pretty main character. Like, but it comes from this is what's going wrong in my life.
But to be very honest, why? And now I do know how to do it. Is because I feel like I'm such a bother. I feel like I am such a hindrance to everyone in my life. So therefore, let me fix it so you don't have to. See, that's not the same kind of energy.
And I appreciate that about you.
You do. Because I'm going through something massive, like massive. And if I came to you and said, Taylor, I need you to help me through this, what would you say? I know you. You'd be like, yeah, okay. It was great knowing you.
No, I reject
you
that.
You cannot
100%.
handle. But what I'm going through is something that people can't handle.
No, this is BS.
No, I'm serious. Okay, go ahead. On a professional level?
Have I not been the person that's been there for you?
No, you've been a sweetheart for sure. But if I made it your responsibility to fix what's going on.
Oh, yeah, no.
That's what I'm talking about.
You were making it sound like I'm the worst person in the world.
No.
It might be your husband, your therapist, and then me. Like, I was like, how dare you?
No, you're not listening.
I kept your face on the logo for 11 and a half months.
It's true. It's true. No, I'm saying actually fixing what I'm going through. That's a different scenario.
Oh, yeah, no, that's between you and the Lord.
But that's what I'm saying. So I owe it to the people I love to get that done, because if I don't, then I do become a burden and make it about you. And you've seen people do that, like when they have these massive things that happen in their life, and we're talking big T trauma, we're talking massive life situation. And when they don't,
that was my nickname in high school.
Big T trauma.
Yeah.
Shut up. Was it really?
No,
you're the worst.
That's my rapper name.
Big T.
Big
What's
T
up?
trauma. Boom, 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 boom.
My name in grad school was O-Dog.
Good pivot. No.
I'm going to call you Big T.
Don't explain it. Don't explain
Okay.
it. No.
Anyway, my point is that I have a hard time doing it for me. I do it out of a place of I can't be a problem. I can't be a bother. And that sounds very martyry. That sounds very like, oh, Liv is so, That's not true. It's a different form of manipulation. It's people pleasing.
I do see the like not wanting to be a burden thing, because I have experienced that. So like that part makes sense. But
yeah.
Okay, so
well, I gotta wait. That was way too much for you. Say something funny.
We're gonna like I haven't already. We are gonna make this about you.
Oh, jeez. Come
on. We have done now. This is our third tattoo reveal of co-host here on the show.
I love that all the ladies have tats.
Yep.
Do you have a tattoo?
No.
Does Father Anthony?
I think so.
All right. So the ladies and Father Anthony.
Yeah.
So not you.
Not me.
Well, how do we make you come to the dark side?
I'm too hairy.
They do shave it.
No. I've probably told this story before, but
I don't know. I listened.
The only hairy person the only person like as hairy as me that I've ever seen had a tattoo was in college. And he was one of those college students that was like 40 and we were all like 19 and we just loved him. He was just so cool. He was just such a cool guy.
Right.
You know, going for a second career, just a great guy. But he had because, you know, let's not make assumptions, but I think it's fair to make assumptions. A 40-ish-year-old guy in college, like, made some decisions in his life. Earlier in his life. One of those decisions was having a very scantily clad woman on his forearm.
Nice.
Well, his forearms look like mine, so there's hair all over them. Yeah. Every morning he shaved her legs.
That's not true.
100%.
That is not true.
His whole arm looked like me, like a gorilla.
No.
But her legs were shaved every morning because he wanted the pretty lady to look pretty.
He sounds so amazing. Let's find that guy.
I want to see what he's up to.
That's fantastic.
But
I'm just basic.
We're doing this is pretty similar because Catherine went to the Holy Land and got tattoos. You went to the Holy Land and got tattoos. So
but we had very different Holy Land experiences, which we're not going to talk about.
We're not, because I don't want to do the same thing.
Because he doesn't want to.
You're not main character enough. But I do want to know, you have these two tattoos and I want to see them.
I got two.
Show the camera.
I haven't publicly shared, but I got so where you go in Jerusalem is called Razooks, and the oldest tattoo.
That's where you buy like gothic stuff in the early 2000s.
Oh, is that true?
Gadzooks was a joke.
Oh,
you said say something funny
cute.
and I tried.
I'm sorry. I'm the worst co-host. Send in your application. So anyway, it's the oldest tattoo place in the world. It's been around since 1300 and they're on their 28th generation. 27th generation, 28th generation. Those two guys are running it and they do stamps. And I wanted to get a stamp, and this is the Jerusalem. I
thought it was a tattoo.
So they stamp it and then they tattoo it. And the stamp itself is hundreds of years old. So
seems like cheating.
It's not, because you still get the tattoo. Instead of drawing it, they stamp it on. They have to draw it on first and then they tattoo. Or they stamp and then they tattoo. So I got that, and then I got another one on the inside of my arm.
We're not going to see that one.
I mean, you can. It's olive branches.
And
it means something. And I know Taylor doesn't want to hear what it means, so I won't share it. Do you really?
Yeah.
Oh, do you want to know what this one means? To me?
I think we know what that one means. Explain. It's a Jesus cross.
It's the Jerusalem cross, and it's all over Jerusalem. And I actually took a picture every time I saw it because I was like, is it really a big deal? Because all these pilgrims come back with the Jerusalem cross. And I was like, I mean, I'm not going to do it just to do it. But it means a couple of different things. One is the big main cross represents Jesus, and the four little cross.
You don't say.
Calm down. And the four little ones could be the four gospels. You know, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, four co-hosts.
Anthony, Liv, Catherine, Allison.
You would make this about you.
No, I didn't mention me at all.
Or it could be that, you know, Jerusalem is where Christianity started, and then you're supposed to go out to the four corners of the world. It goes into a lot of other deeper meanings. For me, it was a coming home. And so I had a horrible year. I'm not going to go into the details or all the things, so relax.
Yeah, you can't talk about your year or Jerusalem, so let's see how this
goes. See how bossy he is? But I had a profound shift in soul while I was there, so that is to represent that. For me personally, if anybody wants to talk about it, you can reach out to me. The olive branches, this is what's so funny. The three main virtues, faith, hope, and love. Mm-hmm. I have bukus of faith, ridiculous amounts of love. Like I love everybody to the point they don't deserve. Hope I don't have. And it's something that I
have any of them.
I personally struggle with.
I have no hope, a little faith, and maybe a little bit more love.
Yeah,
I'm really bad at it.
That is sad. You should work on that.
I mean, I'm not a good
cardinal
person.
virtues. You pray for them. You can only be given to them. You can only be given them from Christ in prayer.
That's a great segue. What I wanted to talk about whenever you're done making this about you.
Oh my gosh. My name, Olivia, which nobody knows on this show, actually means olive branch, means olive tree. That's what Olivia comes from. And it means peace, which is what I don't bring to you.
I've never once thought that.
That I bring.
That Olivia is just olive.
Yeah, that's so what it means. It's olive. I mean,
you know what?
Think about it in Italian. Oliva is Olivia, is olive. Like, so when you say olive oil.
I'm going to give you one guess as to my least favorite salad topping, pizza topping, vegetable.
You don't like olive oil?
I hate olives. I like olive oil.
Oh, we're talking about olive oil.
I hate olives. Black olives are the worst.
I love them.
Gross.
There
might be some
so good
spiritual links between my hatred for olives and my relationship with you. That was subtle until
that is probably
underlying
true.
Until this moment.
But one of the other things, so this is actually a big stamp that had John the Baptist's head and like all sorts of things, and I just wanted the olive branches.
Wait.
I just got that.
I just got a phone call this morning about John the Baptist's head.
No way.
I'm not even joking.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Well, this is the tattoo that goes for it at Razooks if you want the whole thing.
So why is the olive branch?
So it also, his head is right here on the stamp. It's supposed to be right there. I don't have it. I didn't get that part. I just got the olive branches.
On your arm.
I did. I'm not really connected to him. You know what I mean? But the
He's
olive
not
branches.
Connected to him either.
This is why nobody else can be the main character.
That's the best joke I've made in months.
God bless. We just wanted to demonstrate what main character energy was.
He's not connected to himself.
You're the worst.
It's so funny.
It's back at Razooks if anyone wants the head.
Oh, man.
You're really happy about this.
Oh, so funny.
Anyway, it also stands for hope, which I don't have. And I gave myself a new body, which I gave myself hope. So it means a lot. This one is personal. This one's spiritual. All right, I'm done.
Oh, it's so funny.
Can we replace his head?
Yeah, for real.
We should put John the Baptist's head where my head is, or yours.
We're all floating heads. We're all separate heads.
We are. So maybe we are. Maybe he should be the patron saint of this podcast.
You know that there were.
That's not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea. You know that there were there multiple co-hosts. I think everyone except for one has complained at some point about being a floating head. Like on the logo, it's a floating head, but it looks cool.
It does look cool.
Like on our weekly.
Oh yeah, it is post. Just our head.
Well, it was for a while.
Yeah,
but we got a new person working on them, and they're not floating heads anymore.
Oh, is that why they're different?
Almost every co-host complained, and no one has said thank you for the change.
I didn't complain.
No,
I didn't. I did not complain about. I would listen. You know me. I'd much rather you show my head than my body. So let's be a little honest. Who am I competing against? Catherine and Allison. Yeah, I want you to show all of this.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you?
Same energy.
We are the same.
We
this
are.
is.
Okay, you want to hear my John the Baptist story?
Sure.
100% not planned.
Let's go.
Because I didn't know that.
It's a good segue.
You said John the Baptist. I'm like, oh my gosh.
That is crazy.
I got a call this morning from a guy named Kevin. He works at our parish, and he called me because there's certain phone calls that like certain things happen. You can only connect with one person. Like it's so specific that you're like, I think about this person. There's only one. Like I'm not going to post this on social media or whatever. This is only funny or like a funny thing for one person, right? So he calls me. He is selecting music for mass at our local Catholic school, junior high and high school.
Oh, okay.
So he's selecting music for mass, and he calls me because he knows I used to sing for that mass 3 times a week.
You're the
for
music
5
sound
years.
guy.
Like I have been in this position. And he's like, you ever been in the position? He's like, no, he didn't ask me. He's like, you've been in this position. Let me tell you what I meant. He said, I'm trying to, because Catholic musicians are supposed to select songs that have some similarities to, or kind of what's the right word, connect to like the readings, right. So like maybe you don't remember the readings, but then you're singing and he will raise you up on eagles. I know it's not everybody's favorite song, but when you hear like
in connection to
you literally know the scripture
liturgy.
now, because the scripture that day was, and he will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, hold you in the palm of your hand. Like
it's a theme. You're supposed to do a thematic situation.
That song or any song will be stuck in your head for 4 days, and you're like, oh, now I remember what the readings were about. So he calls me and he's like, let me just read you today's gospel. And he reads the John the Baptist severed head story, not the one where his head is severed, but after it. Whenever they're like, they're interviewing the king. He's like, who is this Jesus person? Is he John the Baptist reincarnate? I thought I killed him. The gospel of the Lord. And he's like, what am I supposed to do?
And he will raise you up.
Exactly. So we made some jokes about some resurrection songs, but ultimately you're just not going to have them.
No,
so it was just
doesn't always work.
It's just really funny. I've literally only spoken to 2 people today, and both of you have brought up John the Baptist.
I think he wants to be a part of your podcast. Maybe he's trying to get a position in.
Oh, that's so fun. And the severed heads thing. It's just a perfect little thing.
I love that.
It's like we
love when we make him happy.
God?
I was saying to God, we love when we make him happy, and I'm pointing to you. God and I love it when you're happy. Is that better?
I love it when I'm happy too. I'm the main character of my own story.
And mine. Everybody's story.
I wonder how Father Anthony feels about main character energy when he's saying mass, because he kind of is the main character.
But he isn't, because he's acting in persona.
He becomes the main character. He literally becomes the main character.
He's the vessel. It's like a vase displaying flowers. A vase.
You're too rich to say face. Okay.
Whatever. By the way, I went to the Holy Land for free. I do want to say that.
Okay, you're bringing up the Holy Land again. I'm going to give you a segue into talking about Holy Land.
I want everybody to write me about Holy Land, because I know you want to know.
I'm going to give you one chance to talk about the Holy Land if you can connect it to this story, and then we're going to the second, and then we're never talking about the Holy Land again.
Ever? I'm going again.
I don't care.
See how I slipped that in?
Okay. I was editing a podcast the other day.
Okay.
You may have heard of it. It may or may not have been one of the top shows in the world this year. Okay.
What is it?
It's a priest.
I'm asking. Is it a priest that has a tattoo from the Holy Land?
It is. Yeah. There's a famous video about it.
It is a famous video.
Yeah.
He was in Times Square. Go ahead.
He says,
people can look that up. See how I helped you out?
Prayer is where the thirst of God meets our thirst. It's his quote. He's talking about the catechism. It says, prayer is where the thirst of God, God's thirst for us, meets our thirst. And man, it hit me because I don't think I've thirsted for God in a long time. I don't think I've felt that like desire to be with God primarily through prayer. Like prayer literally is our relationship with God. It's like how we talk to him, how he talks to us. And I've done prayer. I've been praying, but it's because I know that I'm supposed to. I know that I have to. If I'm supposed to be a good Catholic boy, I'm supposed to pray. I know that I have to do it in order to, like not go to hell. Like I've been doing it a lot out of like, there's some irony in the word thirst, because like it's been so dry of like, I don't really want to do this, but I'm doing it because I know I have to. Like there's like, when I'm disciplined, I do it because it's a discipline, not because I want to do it. Right. But this kind of made me think about it in a different way, because it's like prayer is, God is thirsty for us. He wants to be with us, and it's meeting our thirst. And I think I'm thinking that my lack of thirst for prayer is because what I'm supposed to have my thirst filled from in prayer, I'm getting filled other places.
What do you mean?
So like my thirst for connection,
Mm-hmm.
which is something that you can have with God. I've been seeking in conversations with people, podcasting with people, playing video games with people. A lot of it, like even some positive stuff of like, community is great right now. Like things at the parish are going well, things at the school are going well. Like, so I'm getting a lot of my connection, like at Friday night football games, where like all of our communities there. Like, so I'm getting my connection there. So why do I need to go to prayer? Because I already have connection. I need to feel loved. I feel pretty loved by my kids and my wife, my friend. Like, maybe not from comments on the internet, but like I feel pretty loved by the people close to me. So it's like I'm not needing to seek out. My thirst for love is being filled by people. My thirst for connection is being filled by our community. My thirst for peace is being filled by playing a video game. So like I think a lot of like the things that I should be, my natural thirst, the things that like I need, you know, everybody always says like we have this God-shaped hole that only God can fill. It's like I have this thirst for these things that are good, and I think life is for the most part pretty good right now. So I think I'm not thirsty. So I'm not going to prayer thirsty. I'm not going to prayer thirsting for connection with God, to love God, to be loved by God. I feel like I am just being like, I just have to do this so that everything else is fine.
So you're kind of equating it to
the
prayer. Stop. Praying with God or to God is out of need and not out of want. And because you don't have any needs, you don't want to be in prayer. If you were to boil it down and be honest.
I have plenty of needs, if I'm being honest. I'm not really going to him with my needs, but I'm going to him just for like, oh, I did my Bible study, I checked it off. I think there might be two things going on. Of like this thirst being filled, but then also like the things that are stressing me out are really stressing me out, and I don't really want to talk to him about them. I think that might be part of it too.
See, now that's fair.
But even then, it's like one of the big things stressing me out right now is money. And I reached out to, like, yes, God's involved. God provides.
Sure.
But like, people were very generous this past week. So it's like, not that my money stresses are gone forever, but temporarily they're gone. So it's like a lot of my things are being solved. I was going to say naturally. Yes, God's involved in literally all of it.
But you're saying,
but yeah.
So that's interesting. So what are you doing? So what do you do in these moments? Or maybe it's a new moment for you. So maybe you don't know.
A podcast about it and ask your thoughts.
Yeah, how you go back to, or how you re-engage with God in a, not just a one, not just a need based, or not just when I feel good, or just, when it's not out of obligation, but because it is a relationship, I mean, thinking about your relationship with your wife or your children, and if it was just an obligation, and how does that go over with Sam and the kids when you just, are obligated to talk to her or be there or do whatever?
Probably, I don't know, ask her.
Yeah, exactly. I'd love to ask her. I have, then when you want to be there, and when you show up, and when you engage, and when you are connected, and it isn't just because you have to, I think that that's applicable to any relationship. And what you're saying is, in my opinion, this is no different than any other relationship. What is different is you don't have, as much as we like to say like, oh, I have a personal relationship or whatever. No, it's not the same. Jesus is not sitting next to you in a chair and giving you back feedback the way that we get feedback on this planet, which is verbally, visually.
I can't listen to him at 1.5 speed.
Exactly. Right. So that part is a challenge. You're having a relationship with someone that you cannot tangibly connect with in the way that you do on this planet, with anything, with a soul, without a soul, plants, whatever. You can't do that. So that part is different, but it's not different than any other relationship. And you're right. When you're not engaged with the creator of the world in a way that you should be, but you're human. So of course you're not going to be perfect at it. Yeah. It's not going to have you're not going to get the same return. I think, like not just for you. He's fine. That's the whole point of that quote. He's great. There's nothing wrong with him.
Right. Yeah. It's all my fault.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But I think it would be interesting to even put it out to the audience, actually, to the listeners, and say, so what do you do in these moments?
Fix me.
Listen, it's a job. This is a village job.
Yeah.
No, but that's the truth for
Help
all
the
of
village
us.
idiot.
And here's the thing. I can have an opinion and say, this works for me, and that might not stick for you. And somebody in Iowa might be like, this works for me. You might be like, oh, that's great. I never thought about that.
Can't trust people now.
And you can't. They eat a lot of corn or potatoes. I don't know what they do. No, that's Idaho. Stop.
I don't know if we solved my problem, but I feel better.
I think it's great. Honestly, I think, to be really honest, to be super basic, it was interesting what you said about the cardinal virtues that you really lack. That you really lack in faith, hope, and love. And I think that's a massive, massive foundational basis. I know, the Italian, with God and your relationship with him. You've got to have faith in him. You've got to love him. You've got to have hope in him. And the cardinal virtues are nothing you can do on your own. Other virtues you can work on, like a habit. You can work in an increase in, patience and, caring, all generosity, things like that. But those three can only come from him, period. So honestly, as basic as this sounds, I would start there, and I would start asking him for that, for heroic hope, for, life-changing faith, for an unquenchable love. Like, be specific.
You started with alliteration, and I need you to finish with alliteration.
Oh, what did I do?
You said heroic hope.
I did.
And now I need you to finish the other
Do
two
you
with
need me
alliteration.
to?
Yep.
Fulfilling faith.
Yeah, I was going to say ferocious, but that's fine.
Okay, ferocious is nice. No, I like that one. Okay, well, let's do it together. Heroic hope, ferocious faith, and life-giving love.
There you go. I like it.
Okay, cool.
I like that.
Good.
We solved it.
We did. Done.
I'm better now.
Done and done.
No, it's really good.
And I didn't bring up the Holy Land.
Well, now you did. That's the
See?
irony. The irony.
I like that.
One thing that I feel like has been tugging at me, something that I don't do. One of the things that I do, even when things are dry, is like my daily devotional. Like, I just, like, on the Bible app, I do it.
I was going to ask you what you do. What is your routine?
But that's probably the most basic routine. It's
just a Bible app, or it's
the Bible
the
app.
Bible
Yeah.
app. Okay.
It's probably
and
been a few years since I've talked about it, but it's like,
Okay.
it's the Bible. So it's
Okay.
like I use it for reference all the time, but they also have, like, you can literally type anything. What are you dealing with? I'm dealing with stress. I'm dealing
Gotcha.
with body image. I'm dealing with lack of hope. I'm dealing with whatever. I'm dealing with strife
Main
in
character
relationships.
energy.
Like, whatever. Yeah. Whatever. There probably is one. Like, whatever you're dealing with, they have these, like, Bible reading plans. It reminds you to do it every day.
Oh, nice.
So you either do it or you feel bad by checking off the notification and not doing it. But it's helpful. But I feel like, and what I probably need to do, because it's come up in my mind a few times, is like, one of the things that I did that really brought me a lot of life and, like, made me grow, like, in charity, faith, hope, love, like, in the virtues and all these things, was like reading scriptures. Like the devotional zooms in on a scripture and then zooms out. Like,
Okay.
you're done. I think I need to go back to reading full books of the Bible.
Okay.
Like, reading full Paul's letters, reading
Not just an excerpt.
a full
like,
gospel. Like, I feel
get
like
the
I
whole
need
context.
to, like, not in one time, not in one
Sure.
sitting, but like read 2 or 3 times. It's something that I did when I was in college. In college, I did it for a whole Lent, and then one time I did it for a full year. I went to adoration every day
Wow.
for an hour. And what I
Wow.
did, that's the year I read the Bible, because I would go into adoration.
I love
and I
that.
would
That's
read
what
it
you did in
through, yeah.
adoration, was that you read the Bible?
Yeah, and what I would do is
I
I
think
would
that's super brilliant.
my goal, like, so, like, the standard was like, I'm going to read 5 chapters. And now they're like,
While you were in adoration.
yeah, while I was in adoration.
Okay.
And so
I like that.
I have an hour.
Okay.
So the standard going in, the expectation, unless something changed, was I'm going to read 5 books.
Did you make this up, or did
yeah.
someone tell you?
No, I just.
Look at you.
People told me to read the Bible.
No, but I know, but I love
but-
it. But you found a quantitative, like, you grasped it.
I think there was some version of math where, like, I did some math where, like, if I
Good.
want to read the Bible in a year-ish, I don't remember exactly, but it was something like that, of like, it came down to about 5 chapters. So I would go in adoration, and then, like, I didn't want it to be like dry reading. So, like, if I read a verse or a chapter or 3 chapters and like something stuck out to me, I would just like pray with that the rest of the time and be done, right? But when you're reading Leviticus, you're probably going to read 5 chapters a day. But if you're reading like, the Gospel of John, you might stop after a paragraph or whatever, right? But that was kind of the goal so I think I need to do something like that again. I think I need to be, I think I'm like checking in with scripture, and I think I need to be a little bit more seeped in it. So I think that's intentional. So I think if I get more like deeper into scripture, I think I might grow in those faith, hope, and love and all the kind of other things.
And in main character energy, actually, this kind of goes perfect with what you started out this podcast talking about. This is the positive main character energy. This is positive self-care. This is what you're intended to do, because you are supposed to be the main character in your spiritual journey with God. And the thing is that now you're married, you have 3 kids, you have 87 jobs. I don't know how many jobs you have. There are a billion.
I thought about doing a Friday introduction like on Instagram like people do. It's like, I don't think I can keep it under a minute.
It's
of all the things that I do.
No,
it's
really.
Kind of ridiculous.
I don't know if you know all the things that
apparently
you do.
I'm not good at anything because I have to do everything to make a living.
No, that's not. You're so funny. Listen, that's another conversation, another podcast. Yeah. We'll do that next time. But I think what would be interesting, Taylor, is that I think it's very normal in our 30s, our 40s, our 50s, as we get older and we are now more established in our life.
I like that you put ourselves
I did.
in the same age
I put us together. We're together, Taylor. We're in this thing together. Is that you don't do the things you did when you had all the time in the world, when you were in college or you were in high school or you were, starting a trade or wherever you were when you were in your, younger. And when you get in the mid part of life, this is why it's called midlife. Welcome to it. You are here, whether or not you understand that, even though you're 30s, you're at the beginning.
According to the comments on the internet, I'm too fat, old, and unhealthy that I'm already past my midlife.
Oh, great.
I'm going to die by 50.
Oh, perfect.
That's what the internet
well then.
So my midlife was 8 years ago.
I hope you had fun.
Yeah, it was great.
And you really enjoyed that convertible.
That was great, the 25.
And the blonde. That was a joke. But we also have more liberties and freedom at this point that we're more into our adulthood, that you can schedule time to go to adoration and to do what you just said. You're just choosing not to because you allow these other things get in the way. But actually, you are way more in control than you were in your 20s. And you could say, you know what? I am getting up at 5. Sam, you're taking the kids today and I'm going to go. You know what I mean? You can do that once a week or whatever. And so I think that's really great that you're pulling yourself out and saying, you know what? This is time that it worked. Why is it not working now? Because I haven't given it time to do it.
Yeah. You're 100% right. They're like the 2 primary things that have been, and I didn't really even get the connection until we talked it out. The 2 things that have been, I was like, there's an adoration chapel 8 minutes from my house and I haven't gone in years. And I've read the Bible, but I haven't read it like that deep reading in a long time. And I didn't even realize that it was a connection back to probably when I was the closest to God, was doing those 2 things together.
That makes a lot of sense.
I think
that makes a lot of sense.
See, you said that you can't come to me and I can't solve your problems, but I came to you and you solved mine.
I'm good at that.
Who's the main character now?
I'm good at that.
I'm glad you enjoyed your Holy Land trip. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Oh, hi there. You were expecting Taylor in this ad read, but alas, I am not Taylor. And if you were watching on youtube.com/Forte Catholic, you'd know that, because I kind of look like him, and I kind of sound like him, but I am not him. So if you're not doing that, you should, because, Taylor's kind of fun to look at, and I'm kind of fun to look at. And it's a more interactive experience to get to see the expressions and see the passion on Taylor and his guests' faces. So just do it. Go to youtube.com/Forte Catholic, subscribe, like, comment, yell at him for whatever he just said in that segment that you're upset about, or go tell him that he's awesome for standing up for that thing you also believe in, because I also do that, because it's how you interact with the community and get engaged and be better Catholics, which is what we're all here to do. So, again, youtube.com/Forte Catholic.
Welcome back to Forte Catholic. I am Taylor Schroll, and that is Olivia Eugene Harrison.
So close.
We are going to bring back an old segment for an old co-host.
I knew it.
I was waiting. Sense of the term.
You're the worst. Okay,
you
go ahead.
Physically
is this because my birthday's happening?
That's right. It's this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's on Sunday. I don't know when this is airing.
If you're listening to this, you missed it.
Really? Yeah. It's October 1st.
if you're listening to this,
Write me now.
go back into at the
Send
Liv
me
Harrison
cookies.
and nobody's sending you cookies.
Dang it.
Go into Liz Diaz and be like, happy belated birthday. That'd be so funny. Like,
That'd
I
be
was kind of
amazing.
joking. Please do it.
That'd be really
Please do
funny.
it.
Let's see how
Like,
many belated.
Because she's gonna forget because she's
That's
Liv.
true.
And
I'll forget as
please,
soon as I leave your house.
Please, just everybody wish her a happy birthday because we all know you forgot. Please wish her a happy birthday when you're listening to this. It could be a week.
December.
I mean, yeah, this could be 3 years from now. Just whenever you hear this,
Happy birthday, Liv.
at the Liv Harrison on Instagram, just go give her a happy birthday.
Oh
Don't
my
explain it.
gosh.
Just say happy birthday. That'd be great.
I just hate that I'm going to get older so you can still make fun of me because I'm old to you.
we will
So go ahead.
We will always have the same instance of life.
I know. I hate it. Okay, go
Never
ahead.
catching up. All
I
right,
know.
we're bringing back pod decks.
I forgot about this.
I
Who made this up?
pod decks. I don't know. Who made Skittles?
Joe Rogan?
The
I don't
Skittles company.
Skittles.
It's probably Procter & Gamble or something.
Probably.
All
right.
So what these are is they're to help podcasters whenever they don't have enough to say. The irony here is
we always have enough
we
to
have
say.
too much to say.
We need to
And
be
we only
wrangled.
need like a 10-minute segment. And the other segment we had planned for today, I'm going to do next week with whoever's co-hosting next
Oh,
week.
man.
Because it just needed more than 10 minutes. And I didn't want to talk to you for another 30. So we're going to
At least
do
you're honest.
a few pod deck questions. And one of I literally complimented you in between segments is that you're always like, why am I back? I'm like, this is why you're back. The show's going great. I'm having a great time.
Thank you.
We're laughing. I think you set up my greatest joke I've said in months. We had some real spiritual insight. Like, this is the show.
This
and
is
you're,
what we
you're
do.
doing it great. So
Thank you. That's why I'm back, people.
but the spontaneity of you
Okay.
is both one of, as your co-host, it's one of the best things about you and one of the worst things about you.
That's fair.
And it's gone very well thus far. But now I haven't even planned this segment. Poddex has so all this is questions to ask on podcasts. It's really not that difficult. So I'm going to ask a question and we're both going to answer it.
Okay.
And neither of us have seen these.
Okay, so it's not one that you read at the bottom.
I skipped one because ironically it was a topic that I want to talk about with somebody that's not you.
That's
You're
the
the
worst.
only person that I don't want to have that conversation.
Can I see
with.
what it is later or now?
Yeah, that one. That's the segment that I skipped earlier
Oh, good gracious.
because that's a problem in my life and most people's. It's not in yours. Okay. So
Y'all can guess what he teases
say happy
about.
birthday and guess what the topic was.
That he's jealous of that isn't true, but go ahead.
If you can instantly become one, what would you want to be an expert in? If you can instantly become an expert, got your 10,000 hours, you become an expert in what?
I would do, this is going to sound so crazy, but I would do psychology. I'm so into it right now. I wish I had, I'm actually looking into like some things for me to kind of go deeper into it, but I would love to be like literally an expert in kind of the stuff I talk about or share. Yeah, that's where I would be right now at this moment. If
You're
we
an
were,
expert patient. You've done your 10,000 hours of being a patient.
that is so true.
You did 10,000 hours in like 4 weeks. You live there.
Dude, really, not even joking. What about you?
It's probably not my deepest answer, but it would be something that makes money. Because I
Always comes back to money.
Nothing that I'm good at makes any
You're
money.
so funny.
What is your favorite gadget? It says, what's your favorite gadget? But it doesn't have the apostrophe, and I'm mad at this game now. How dare you, Poddex? What's your favorite gadget?
Okay, I instantly went to the kitchen in my brain, and I thought of the garlic.
Where you belong!
I know. I do. I miss it. I haven't cooked for my family in so long. They're just walking, like fast food bags. But garlic press.
That was your nickname in high
Flipping
school.
garlic press?
That one works too. I was saying
Walking fast food bags. That's fair.
Either works.
I was the size of a fast food restaurant. Thanks, Taylor.
That was the joke.
Glad we brought that back. But let me tell you something. Not having your hands smell like garlic, fantastic.
Is that your answer?
That is my answer.
What is it?
A garlic thing. Like,
A
the
garlic
press.
thing.
The
That's your
garlic
answer.
press. You put in the garlic, you squeeze it, it goes into the food. I
I've
love that.
Never once seen this because I've never made garlic.
You've
bread.
done zero. I've seen you make quesadillas once. Quesadilla. Go ahead. What is your gadget? Is it an Xbox controller?
No, I have it. I'm looking at it.
Oh, you're going to go get it? You're leaving the podcast? Oh, my husband bought this because of you, and he makes me do this every night. That sounds strange. Hurry up and show it.
We need to show this quickly. Okay. My massage gun.
He loves that. You changed his life.
Legitimately life-changing.
No, literally.
Because myself and your husband, both ex-athletes, both ex-football players.
That's right.
Everything hurts all the time.
That's right.
This, I'm going to add one to it. I'm going to cheat and answer two. The massage gun was first.
Okay.
I don't think you've done the other one. My inversion table might be the favorite.
What?
You ever
Like
seen
the
that?
80s where you like lay upside down? That used to be like in every 80s movie.
Where we are sitting right through that wall, right next to you, literally 3.5 feet from you is my inversion table.
When did you get
and
that?
I hang up 2 years ago. I hang upside down like a vampire.
What?
Because it's like, gravity.
Yeah.
And I have a relationship.
Yeah. And wait, let's be honest.
So
it does.
It's
like,
constantly
pulling
me down. And then so I go lay there. It pops my hips. It pops my back. Everything.
Did you tell Nathan?
No.
Huh. I've known you this long. I had no idea you had a table that you hang upside down. How do you get on there and how do you get out? Does somebody have to be home? I have a lot of questions.
No.
Do you have to have clothes? What is going on?
No. You strap. So you know how it's not like it's like this for your feet. Like when you go to a amusement park and you like like click in the thing over your hit the clicky.
I'll be at Disney next week.
Cookie. So like how those click in like on your waist.
Sure.
This clips in on like your ankles, like right above your ankles, and you hang. And
how do you get back?
So your I don't know why we're explaining this. Your arms work like a lever. So it's you set it to your height. And then essentially, if you put your arms up and back, you go backwards. And if you put your arms forward, you go forward. We're going to do this right after this.
I'm not.
I'm going to record you doing it. And we're putting it as a clip into this podcast.
0%. Is this how I keep my face in the logo?
Yeah.
Then it was great knowing all of you. Have great lives.
First time I ever did it, I grew 1.25 inches. Because
For how long?
Permanently. I was 6'1" and I'm now 6'2". I did it when 10
this
years
is
ago.
the what?
Yeah.
Come on.
I was so compressed, mostly from sports, like sports injuries.
I haven't done sport. Now I would be compressed from fat.
I'm just saying, we're doing this. Whatever.
It's true. Well, let's wait till my next surgery. Let's get all of it cut off.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we can measure and stretch. That's so weird.
You might rip in half if you go to the person table.
Seriously. What in the world?
All right.
Well, that was weird. Garlic press for me.
That's so stupid.
That was the most white, basic lady. I said the other word.
I wish you would have said a lot of different words this segment.
Now I want to come up with a better gadget. Wait, do we still have time? That didn't take 10 minutes to talk about you stretching?
It's not what I want to end on. It might have. But,
jeez.
What characteristic are you most known for? Let's answer for each other. I think the characteristic you are most known for is the characteristic of bubbly.
The characteristic of bubbly.
You're a very bubbly and fun personality. I think the 1A to that is also when you're not bubbly and things aren't going well. I think people watching, people like seeing what the bubbly person is going through.
I'm quiet. When I'm not bubbly, I'm quiet.
That's not what I was.
What were you saying? Tell me. Use real words. Oh no, what? Anger? Am I mean? What is it?
No.
Sad, depressed.
You know how when there's a wreck on the side of the road and everybody slows down to look at it?
Oh, like you mean like the Michael Jackson meme?
Everybody's locked in.
When I'm not bubbly?
I think people are locked in all the time, but they're like, we really like that you're bubbly, but we also like seeing.
We want to know what.
And I think that's gotten a lot better. I think that would have been maybe more like 2 to 3 years ago.
That's fair.
But you have been quieter in the last year than what you used to.
Okay, that's fair. That's funny. That's what I'm most known for. Wow. See, and do you know what I wish you had said? Go ahead.
You know what's not fair about that? So
okay.
The bubbly thing I think has been consistent for years. I think the train wreck thing was probably more 2 to 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But the characteristic you're known for is not necessarily the person that you are now. And I dealt with this a lot in junior high. So I got a reputation in junior high, mostly just because I hung out with the black people, and most of the white kids were racist. So it's like I had to choose: am I going to hang out with the black kids who are? I was a sports guy. They were my teammates because the white kids weren't good enough, except for me, right? And I had a reputation of being like a wannabe thug, white guy hang out with black guy kind of thing. And I was that person in junior high.
Yeah.
And then I was not, probably towards the end of 8th grade, and then even into like my freshman, sophomore year. But I was always that kid to a bunch of people. So
really,
not the characteristics that you're known for, not necessarily who you are today.
So what am I known for that I'm not today?
I think the 1B. I think you've always been
The
bubbly.
train wreck
but I
thing?
think the train wreck thing, I think you've solved. But I think people might
you.
still say that that's what you're known for. That's
fair.
That's
Or
my
the people that don't know me.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate
or
that.
that like know you from social media
Sure.
or whatever. It's like, because I was really frustrated
I appreciate
for like
that.
2.5 years of like, this is not who I am.
Yeah.
It's not. I didn't. To be clear, I didn't switch to become a racist. It's just like
No, not at all.
I think in junior high, I was probably pretending a little bit too much. Like,
Sure.
Wanting to be
You want to be included.
and
Yeah.
athlete and all that
Belong
kind of stuff.
and- yeah.
But I just think I settled into who I am,
Mhm.
and nobody really cared. They were like, "No, you're that person that we met in 7th grade." or
No,
whatever.
that's
So,
true. I think that's interesting. We do get labeled what we were
Yeah.
in our families, the past, people that knew us or whatever, and they kind of sticks with us for sure.
Yeah, like that nickname of garlic press. You just can't get rid of that one.
See, I keep thinking my hands smell like garlic because I talked about it. All right, so for you,
It's weird.
what,
kinda like
can
a-
you read the question again? What's the
I sure can.
characteristic?
What characteristic are you most known for? So you're answering for me, and we're going to close the show with this. Whether it's a train wreck or not.
I think I think the thing that you're most known for is honestly your humanity, being transparent, being who you are. Like, you're not afraid to be who you are, whatever that looks like, good, bad, indifferent. As a friend to a person, you're going to be honest with yourself, with whatever. Like, I think so. Maybe the word is honesty in that way, like a human honesty. I think that's what translates the most about you. And what I think is interesting that we both share is I take my bubbly thing and you take your honest thing and we make it funny. And that's where I think you and I meet in the middle.
You pointed to heaven, like we'll meet there.
One day, I
we'll
hope
both
so.
be redeemed.
How was that for an answer? Is that a good
That's
characteristic?
pretty good. That's pretty good.
I think that is what you're known for. I really do. You're that guy. You're not going to put smoke up somebody's skirt to do it. You're not going to do that. You're going to be real. And even with yourself, that's what makes you so lovable, because you don't just do it to others, which we've talked about before. People will do things to others, but they can't take it about themselves.
Mhm.
You're not like that. That makes you super unique. And I think even though people can't put their finger on it, that would be the characteristic, is that you can put it out there and you can say things, but you're just as fair about it with yourself. I don't know the right word for that.
That's very kind. It's bubbly. The right
Bubbly!
word is bubbly.
You're so bubbly. That is not what you're known for.
We had a great episode. If anybody
It was a good
if
episode.
anybody comes into my DMs or texts me that
Wants me out.
wants you out, I just point you to this episode. This was great. I really enjoyed it. Do not forget, go wish Liv a happy birthday in our DMs. I don't care if it's January 28th. Go do it, please. That's been our show. I'm Taylor Schroll. That's Olivia Newton-John. I'll be back next week. She'll be back whenever. See ya!
Yep.
Strapped in.
Holy smoke. And you just do this for 2 minutes?
Yeah, my hip is going to pop here in a second.
I'm going to hear it?
Probably. Listen. Shh.
Ew.
That was my hip popping back.
Well, I know that. And then, okay, but I want to see you get back up.
That's it.
That's insane.
Feels so much better.
Do you really?
Yes.
That
Your
is
turn.
No.